Yoga? This happened yesterday. Let's see what's going on.
Josie, I'm testing out the golf clubs today.
All right, I think we're live here. Awesome. All right, we'll get going in 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe a little slower class today. It's a little hot here. And as always, if you have any suggestions at all, the nice thing about Facebook Live is we do have this comment section that I can look and just see whether I'm loud enough, whether I'm too loud. So feel free to comment and give me some feedback to make the class a better experience for everybody.
I think I ate too much for lunch.
What'd you have?
Chickpea salad with like sardines and stuff.
Hello. All right. Looks like our sound is good. Let's get going. Josephine, my faithful student, also my daughter. So let's start seated.
Hooray! What about laying down?
So I'm a big fan of a little support under the hips, so that we can sit up a little straighter, a little taller. I'll invite you to start with legs in a loose diamond shape. And that way we're not going to have to switch the cross of the legs. Heels can be a little bit apart. You might connect the heels. From here, I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. Without shortening the neck, a slight tuck of the chin as we draw our attention inward. I'll invite you to start just by watching your breath as it flows in and as it flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for mid-afternoon yoga practice. If you're on the East Coast, early evening. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath with a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. And as you breathe out, I'll invite you to keep your belly soft and just let the air whoosh out. And instead of yoga, it's called Ashtanga Yoga. There's a couple different meanings to Ashtanga Yoga, but the big A, Ashtanga, there's 8 different ways to get into the practice. The 4th way is a focus on the breath. It's called pranayama. So let's do a little breath work, a little pranayama before we start to connect breath and movement. So let's find an alternating nostril breath. Using our right hand, we can use little finger, ring finger to close off left nostril. We can use our thumb to close off right nostril. If that's too complicated, you could always just use the index finger and switch sides. Let's start by breathing in through the right nostril, so closing off the left nostril with little finger and ring finger. We breathe in through right. Closing right, breathing out left. Breathing in left. Closing left, breathing out right. Breathing in right. Closing right, breathing out left. Breathing in left. Closing left, breathing out right. Breathing in right. Closing right, breathing out left. One more time around, we'll end on that left nostril, breathing in left. Closing left, breathing out right. Breathing in right. Closing right, breathing out left. And then removing the hand, a big breath in through both nostrils. And a slow breath out through both nostrils. That's called, in English, the alternating nostril breath. In Sanskrit, Nadi Shoshona. Let's work Nadi Shoshona, this time not using the hands, just using a little directed flaring of the nostrils. And it certainly will not be as effective in directing the flow of breath, but perhaps even more effective in clearing and focusing our minds. So sitting up straight and tall, let's breathe in through right nostril, breathing out through left nostril. Breathing in left nostril, breathing out through right nostril. Breathing in right nostril, breathing out through left nostril. Breathing in left nostril, breathing out through right nostril. One more time around, we'll end on that left nostril, breathing in right nostril, breathing out left, breathing in left, breathing out right. Last one here, breathing in right, and breathing out left. And a long, smooth breath in through both nostrils, and a long, smooth breath out. Let's stay with this deeper, fuller breath through both nostrils and out through both nostrils. And we'll start to connect breath to movement. I'll invite you to bring left hand by left hip. Right hand crosses over to find the outside of the left knee. Take a breath to sit tall as we breathe in. And then on the exhale, we'll find a twist, either looking straight ahead or off to the side or over that back shoulder, and holding it for 2 or 3 breaths. With every in-breath, letting your spine get a little bit taller. With every out-breath, maybe finding a little more twist. Now letting your next in-breath bring you back through center. Let's take a breath to ground down through both sits bones. And then finding our other side. Right hand outside right hip. Left hand crosses over. Let your inhale grow your spine tall. And then finding your twist. It doesn't have to happen all at once. Maybe letting yourself slide into it. Maybe like trying to unscrew a stubborn screw or pull out a stubborn nail. A little time, a little patience, a little repetition. And one more long, slow breath here. Now letting your inhale bring you back through center. Hands on both knees. Take a breath to sit tall. On the exhale, letting your groin soften. Now staying grounded through 2 sits bones, let's bring left hand outside left hip. Let's stretch right hand high. We're going to take a little lean to the left. Now I invite you to lift that far sits bone up. Can't really see that, but you can certainly feel it. And keep the hand right where it is, almost like there's a hook. You've grabbed onto the hook. And you're going to let that far sits bone slide back down as we find a little more space in that low side waist. And then holding that for a couple of breaths, just breathing into those ribs, breathing into that side waist. Feels so good. Now letting your inhale bring you through center. Grounding down through that other hand. We'll stay grounded through both sits bones as we initiate. Lift left hand high. And then we'll take the little side bend to the right and we'll lift that far sits bone up, that left sits bone. And when you keep the hand right where it is, you might pretend there's a sky hook there. You've caught onto the hook. As we slide that sits bone back down. And then holding for a couple of breaths. Just breathing into those ribs, breathing into that low side waist. I find when I sit a lot, these 2 low side waists appreciate this stretch. And then letting an inhale bring you through center. Grounded down through 2 sits bones. Let's take a little walk forward. If your soles are connected, let's separate the feet. I'll invite you to use spider fingers here. So we'll spider those fingers front, hinging at the hips, keeping neutral spine. And just go into this slowly, just seeing how your back works this afternoon. You might stay with neutral spine when you can't hinge anymore. Or if your back feels okay rounding, pretend there's a ball in front. We're going to round up and over that ball as we find more, not less space in our backs. And then just breathing into our backs, whatever sensation you feel. Using your breath as a flashlight just to examine that sensation. From this place, let's spider those fingers on back as we come back to reclaim our tall spine. From here, let's use our hands to close our legs. And let's just keep our limbs loose and liquid. Just give it a little wiggle, a little waggle. And then let's come over onto an all-fours position on our knees. I'll go sideways. Josephine will provide the other perspective. So pushing our pillow off to the side. I'll invite you to ground down solidly through your hands. So there's going to be lots of space between the finger. I like to focus between the thumb and the forefinger. So right there is a good center of energy. Having said that, you don't want to disconnect through the rest of the hand. From here, let's start a very slow, very mellow cat-dog stretch. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. Breathing out, tucking toes, tucking tail, tucking chin. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it in. Now let's do 6. We're halfway done. Breathing in, here's 4. Breathing out. 2 more to go. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding in. The last one, keeping it this simple. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding in. And then coming back to neutral spine, feet unfurled. I'll invite you to circle those hips, any amount. I'll suggest 6 if you're not quite at 6, and we go to the other side. Don't worry about it. And then taking those circles the other way. And then let's come back center, and let's add on to our cat-dog stretch. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. And then big toes touch. We're going to round the spine as we take sits bones back towards the heels, tucking chin and tail. So it's the cat-dog stretch with a child's pose thrown in. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it back. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it back. We're halfway down, we'll do 6. Here's 4. Two more to go. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it in. Last one here, breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it back. And then again, coming back to neutral spine, back of the head in line with the sacrum. Feet hip width apart, feet unfurled. I'll allow you to trace your wrists, all right? I'll allow you to trace a figure 8 with those hips. Say 5 or 6 here. And then taking those figure 8s the other way. And then back to center. And we did figure 8s both ways, yes. Let's add on to our cat dog stretch as we add a diagonal. So breathing in, coming up center, lifting chin and tail. Big toes touch, we take sits bones back towards one heel. Inhaling, coming up center. And then exhaling, finding that other heel. Inhaling. And exhaling back. Inhaling, finding center. Exhaling it back. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Inhaling. And exhale. We're halfway done. Here comes 4 each side. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhaling. And exhaling. 2 more to go each way. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. 1 more each side. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. And then coming back to neutral spine. Let's do a little bit of wrist work here. So I'll invite you to take one hand, let's say right hand. You turn it out to the side. If you have a bit more to go, you might turn it backwards as we stretch out that wrist. Now we can bring that right hand back center. We can turn the left wrist out to the side if you have a bit more to go. Maybe turn it backwards any amount as we stretch out that left wrist, just holding it for a couple of breaths. Now bringing that left wrist back center, just taking your breath here, let those wrists relax. And then I'll invite you to turn both wrists, or both fingers, off to the side. And if you have a bit more to go, maybe turn both wrists a little bit backwards to stretch out those wrists. Now bringing both wrists, or both fingers, facing front. And let's come to another seated position here. As we sit on our heels, the knees are connected. So it looks like that. It's a hero pose, kneeling hero. If this is too much, you could always grab that yoga pillow. If you need a little more thickness, you could always roll your pillow up. And if you don't have a pillow or handy, you could always just take the weight out of the pose by coming up to a camel prep. Whatever pose you choose, here or here, I'll invite you to bring your hands in front, the palms face in. We can pretend the right hand's a rocket ship, or that thumb's a rocket ship. It takes off for the sky. It reaches its apogee. It comes back down to earth. So we've got right wrist on top of left. We're going to spin the palms to face in. We're going to find a clasp of the fingers. We're going to roll the hands in towards the heart. And be careful here, this can get super intense. I do it probably more than most. As we stretch out our wrists, we turn the hands away from the heart. And just holding that for a couple of minutes. Now rolling our wrists back in towards our heart. 2 arms in front. We're going to release that clasp of the fingers. Move slowly here as we release. Now we're just going to switch the cross of the wrists, clasping the fingers. We'll find that same stretch. Put the other wrist on top as we roll our hands in. And again, move slowly here at this point when you start to roll away. It gets intense pretty fast. Give your wrist exactly what they want. No need to push. Invite. Much like ourselves, our body parts like to be invited. They don't like to be pushed around. And then rolling the hands back in. I'll invite you to release the clasp of the fingers, palms on our thighs, just finding our breath. Josephine, hold this position. I see a couple comments. I just want to see if I'm being heard and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Welcome, Nan. It's Aunt Nan. She's saying we're very coordinated.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Are we the Russian ballet today? Which one?
We are the Russian ballet. From this place, let's tuck the back toes. Let's push into the hands to lift our knees. And let's keep on going until we get to a standing forward fold. Let's go wide with our feet. And let's catch opposite elbows. And just gently sway it from side to side. Now switching the cross of the elbows, keep swaying it side to side. Now let's find the safe way to come up. So a hinge is always safer than a roll up. So let's bring hands under our thighs as we find neutral spine, back of the head in line with the sacrum. And we want to keep neutral spine as we hinge at the hips, leading with the back of the heart to come on up. From here, let's do a little more wrist work. Let's bring our right wrist in front, the fingers face up. Left fingers catch those fingers, and we pull, I'll go sideways here. We pull the fingers back as you stretch the heel of the hand forward. Any amount. Again, invite, don't push. And we'll do the same thing, other hand. So left hand faces front, right hand catches the fingers. We pull back with those fingers as we push the wrist out. Now releasing, let's find a clasp of the fingers in front. Let's press the heels of the hands together and we'll just circle our wrists. And then let's take those wrist circles the other way. Now let's do a very similar exercise. One difference though, so we're going to come center, we're going to release the clasp of the fingers, we'll walk it one over. This time we're going to connect the forearms and we'll circle those wrists. Keeping the forearms connected, a little bit of a different stretch. And then take it the other way. And then let's come back center, let's release this clasp of the fingers. Let's pretend we have a piano in front of us. And let's play our favorite song. What song are you playing, Josephine?
Not.
She actually plays the piano. I just air piano. I'm playing a wonderful symphony. And let's do one more hand exercise, and we'll start to move some bigger standing movements. So let's bring our hands in front. I'll face front here. The palms face front. We're going to bring our thumb inside, and then we're going to bring our thumb outside. And just back and forth, just stretching out the wrists. I find in these times when I'm spending more time at home, my low back and hips tend to get congested. My wrists and hands also tend to get congested. I think that's because I spend a lot of time on my phone in front of the computer.
What? No.
What? Not me, the yoga teacher. And then hands by our side. From here, let's keep the fit, let's actually go wider with the feet. Nice foundation here. Let's treat ourselves. Bringing hands to the back of our hips, the fingers face down, and just circling those hips for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's take those hip circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's pretend we have an extra set of hands. We talked about this last night. Hips Don't Lie. It's a Shakira song. The video I saw, she had a bunch of dancers behind her, and they all came up behind her and they did this thing with the arms, so she looked like an Hindu goddess. And I actually mentioned that in class. Anyway, we're going to pretend we're Hindu goddesses here. We've got an extra set of hands to keep our hips stable. Our real hands find our shoulders, and keeping the hips relatively stable as we circle our shoulders for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to take those shoulder circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now coming back center, let's stretch our arms in the air like we either do or don't care. I'm going to go out of the frame here. I think Josephine's still in. We're going to take the shoulders one way, hips go the other. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to take it the other way. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back to center. Let's pretend like our hands are floating on water, and we're going to jump on our toes 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's hold those heels high. Let's bring arms overhead, palms face in, palms face out, palms face in, palms face out. One more time, palms face in, palms face out. We lower the heels, hands by our side. From here, let's bring hands on hips, and a little teacher's tip here. Anytime you're teaching, generally you want to get patterns in place. One of my patterns is I'm working from the front of the mat. I always step the left foot back first, and that way if I lose track of sides, it's a little bit of a help. So I'm going to step my left foot back. I don't know about you to step your left foot back. Let's find Warrior 1 prep. I'll go sideways, Josephine, you stay just as you are. In Warrior 1, the traditional alignment is heel-to-heel alignment. Front knee is a little bit bent. I tend to go a little bit short, at least initially. If your hips are different shape than mine, you could always go wider depending on where your balance is. But that's Warrior 1 foot alignment. From here, we can square our hips front. Back hip's going to want to move front hip's going to move back. The way most people's hips are, you're not going to get perfectly front alignment unless your stance is super short. You do want to get a little stretch in the legs. You're not going to get quite there. Hands find the shoulders. We can square the shoulders front. Finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, and then stretching those hands high to the sky. One of my favorite moves here. Breathing in, we're going to gather up the energy. Exhaling, we're going to offer it out. And let's do this 6 times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I believe we have 2 more to go. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Now let's hold this letter W shape for 2 or 3 breaths. I'll invite you to bring the elbows back, the hands come with. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers, keeping our hands supple, starting to wake up all the various energy currents in our body. From here, let's bring hands back to the hips. Let's spin that back heel up. And then we're going to slowly ground that knee. Take your time. With that knee grounded, I'll go sideways here. We're going to unfurl the back foot, so the tops of the toes are down. From here, let's move toward the lizard or gecko stretch. Nice stretch for the hips. As we ground down with two hands, we can walk this foot forward. We want to keep the knee over the heel, center the knee in line with the toes. You want to go far enough forward so you start to feel some stretch in that back leg. From here, let's give ourselves a little room to work as we angle the toes out at about 45. Heel meets the toes. One more time, toes angle out. And then two hands inside the foot. And then just starting to melt yourself down towards the floor as you bend those elbows. Be super mindful of the alignment of that front knee. Yeah, nice. You might take your foot a little, just a tad forward, Joseph. Yeah, that way you get better knee alignment there. As we hold the stretch, I invite you to relax the neck and heavy the head. We can hold these shapes in stillness, just seeing what comes up. Great place and a good way to work any shape. Classical way to work. Another way to work is just to add a little swing, a little sway. Doesn't have to be big movement. Just seeing what kind of sensation arises. And as always in yoga, you don't want to attach to those sensations, whether it's pleasurable, whether it's less than pleasurable. It's more the non-attachment, almost like you're watching clouds in the sky and just letting that sensation take whatever shape it's going to take, unforced by our will, by our intent. From our gecko stretch, let's come back up to two long arms. Let's tuck the back toes. And let's work this front foot back in. From here, let's bring hands to hips. And let's stretch hands high to the sky. From here, let's bring hands back to the hips. And very slowly, going to be a little bit of core engagement here. It's not going to be super easy. We're going to try to lift that back knee. Nice. Shortening the stance if necessary. And then we're going to shift weight onto the front foot as we step that back foot back. From here, let's bring hands to heart, just coming back to our breath. A light press of the thumb against the sternum. I'll invite you to line up each finger. Notice whether left hand presses more into right, right presses into left, and try to find that even balance. Another yoga principle is equanimity, equalness. And then hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump our feet out wide. Feel free to grab water. Boom. And we'll keep it moving a little bit here. On the inhale, we'll bring arms out to the side. On the exhale, bending the knees as we cross the arms in front. Inhaling, and then finding that other cross. And we'll do 6 of these. Halfway done. Last 2 each way. Last one. And then back up. And hands by our side. Or hands on our hips, sorry. So because I always step the left foot front, I know I'm on the second side here, so now I'm going to step.
Sorry.
You wanted a slow class. This is her request.
No, sorry. I just ate too much salt.
We're going to step our right foot back, lining up the heels, giving yourself the stretch your legs deserve. I tend to go short initially. Some of you may go long, a little too long, but make sure you're in a place where you get some stretch, but at the expense of not getting riled up. You don't want to feel anxious as we hold these shapes. Again, let me go sideways here. We can use our hands to sort of square our hips. They're not going to get perfectly square unless you're working a really short stance. We don't want to have too short a stance. From here, we can relax those shoulders. We can also square the torso front here, so heart faces front. Finding that clasp with the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then stretching those hands high. Just feeling lots of length through those sideways, length through the arms. And then with the breath, breathing in And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing in. Breathing out. Halfway down. Inhaling. Exhale. Last two. Breathing in. And breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out in, holding for a big breath into your heart. The elbows move back. Those hands come with. Wiggle those fingers. You make fists with the hands. Again, just waking up the 10,000 currents of energy, the nadis that exist in our body. And then from here, we brought hands back to the hips. We spun the back heel up. And we did a long, slow descent down towards the floor. When we got down to the floor, unfurling the back feet. Hands frame that front foot. And then with the support of the back foot in the hand, we can walk this front foot forward. You get some stretch in that back thigh. Again, being super, super careful of the knee. You want to keep it right over the heel, in line with the toes. When you start to feel that stretch, maybe you go a little bit further. If it's too much, you back off, just finding a place that works for you. We'll toe heel the feet out. We'll go once with the toes. Heel meets the toes. Toes go out one more time. Two hands inside the foot. And then we'll bend the elbows as we melt our heart down towards the floor. Either keeping the pose in relative stillness, it's a great way to start any of this. And you might just stay there. If you're getting lots of sensation, you might not need to add anything. If you are a seeker of sensation for a good reason, maybe just gently rock that hip, almost like stirring a chili or a soup, just trying to get a little more flavor, a little more taste to arise. And again, whatever you're feeling, whether you're holding the pose in stillness or you've added that movement, just observing those sensations. It's non-attachment. Equanimity, which is usually an evenness to the mind, is also a non-attached mind. Not always. But there's a relationship there. And words don't always fully express that relationship. From this place, I'll invite you to come up slowly as we straighten the arms. Let's tuck the back toes and work this foot back in. From here, let's bring hands to our hips. And then stretching those hands high. And again, just really enjoying that length through both sideways, length through the arms, even length through those fingers. And breathing into that sense of space, that length. And then we can bring hands back to the hips. And this is easier said than done as we find a long, slow ascent up. And then if you can do it in one step, great. Otherwise, take a little step in and then stepping that back foot front. As we bring our hands to our heart, a light press of the thumbs. Again, I'll invite you to line up those fingers. Notice where the left presses into right, right presses into left. And try to find that equanimity, that evenness, which goes with our non-attachment, just observing. From here, one of my favorite exercises, and we'll combine it with a breathing sequence here. Let's go a little wider with the feet. We're going to push one hand up, one hand down as we turn to one side, breathing in. We'll exhale through center, and then find the other side. So inhale to prepare. Exhale. Inhaling, we'll turn to one side, one hand up, one hand down. Exhaling through center and other way. And we'll do 6 of these. We're finishing 2. Here comes 3. And 2 more each way. We might have stuck an extra one in there. 1 more each side. And then back to center. So a good way to focus the energy of the hands, I'll come close to the screen, to find this bird beak hand. So The tips of 5 fingers connect with the thumb. Welcome, Catherine. This is a hand gesture Catherine teaches, or not Catherine, Zach teaches. Let's bring those bird beaks to our shoulders. We're going to lean a little bit forward and just rolling one shoulder front and then the other. And then let's take those asymmetrical shoulder rolls the other way. And then let's come back to center. Let's line up our ears over our shoulders over our hips, our ears, shoulders, hips over heels, hands by our side as we stand tall and breathe. So let's do one more breath exercise before we work through another standing pose sequence. It'll probably be our last standing pose sequence this afternoon before we get down onto the floor and do some seated poses and on our back poses. So I'll go sideways here. Keeping the feet nice and wide, we're going to roll down our spine. So we can start by letting the neck relax, the chin is tucked, the knees soften, we start to roll ourselves down. Okay, definitely you guys can see me. Excellent. On the inhale, I want to allow you to make fists with the hands as you breathe into your back body. On the exhale, letting the back body soften as we release the fists. We breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. 2 more to go. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Now we're going to roll up. I'll suggest the assist as we bring hands onto our thighs. This chin is tucked. We push the hands into the thighs to support the low back as we masterfully roll ourselves up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, 2 hands high in the air as if we're holding a big ball. I'll allow you to take 3 big full body breaths. Our fingers and hands can mimic our ribs. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And then I'll allow you to bring hands to heart, a light press of the thumb against the sternum, lining up each finger, long through all sides of the neck with a slight tuck of the chin as we prepare for our last standing pose sequence this afternoon. From here, let's bring hands on hips, and we always start with our left, so we stay unconfused. Finding our warrior 1 shape, lining up the heels. Now let's turn warrior 1 into warrior 2. Let's focus on the foot alignment here. So warrior 2, the hips face the side wall. In order to facilitate that, we narrow the stance for heel to arch alignment. But again, if you feel wobbly, no crime in going wider. Just find a place where you feel your foundation. From a foundation, you'll get more stretch. If you're wobbly in the shape, you won't be able to go to the stretch that your body wants. So find a place for you to work. We'll bend the front knee. We want to be, again, mindful to keep the knee over the heel, center of the knee in line with the toes. We find 1 long arm. Yeah, hand can find the hip. We have drishti or eye focuses in yoga. So the eye focus in warrior 2 is out over those front fingers. And we want to keep a steady yet relaxed gaze. There's various energies in yoga. The gunas, so this is a very sattvic gaze here. Strong, but not hard. Relaxed, but not squishy. And that's a technical term, squishy. Oh, you're paid to laugh at these jokes.
Oh, I'm paid. Good to know. Put for the check.
From here, let's paint rainbows. Hand finds the back thigh. We straighten the front leg. Palm faces back. Exhale. Now let's do 6 of these. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. 3 more to go. Breathing in. And breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out, back to your warrior two. And then a very classic standing pose, the triangle. I love it. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. The I'm a little teacup transition. We deepen that crease, we lengthen those ribs. We want to keep a little spring in the knee here as we ground bottom, hand down. You could work thigh. If you work the knee, make sure the knee pushes into the hand as much as the hand pushes into the knee. Most of us will probably find shin. Some of you guys that do yoga all the time, maybe peace sign fingers catch the big toes. But you don't want to compromise the stretching up energy with the collapsed energy. Well, notice if I go down too low. If I go for that big toe, everything's down towards the floor. There's no.
It's just too, my legs
It's too
are
much.
too far apart, I think.
Well, you could go narrower too. I mean, it's something to play with.
Because I think like I could do it if I was here pretty.
Okay, and I think generally when I see people do that, they do have a shorter stance. So again, we make choices in yoga. The only wrong choice would be a choice that hurts you. You don't want to hurt yourself. So find a place where you don't hurt yourself. We can set that shoulder. We can stretch hand high.
Yeah, I think it's with a longer stance it will work.
Yeah, I think so there's Ashtanga with the little a, which is a specific style of yoga. And I think when I watch the Ashtangis work the triangle, the stance does tend to be a little bit shorter. I like a little bit more stretch in my legs. I think stretching my legs is, for me, is more important than whether I catch the big toe or not. So again, we make choices. With your peace sign fingers on the big toe, my next move is practically impossible. So I'm going to cue you here. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more energy in those fingers, those top fingers. Whatever triangle you took, let's come out easily. Hands find the hip. We can soften that front knee. We can come on up. We can bring hands to hips. We can spin that back heel up and then shifting weight onto the front foot as we step that back foot front. And then we bring hands to heart. And then hands by our side. So let's work that warrior two, rainbow warrior, or painting rainbows, and then triangle pose on our second side. So hands find the hips. We step the right foot back. We can start with warrior one here, lining up the heels, squaring the hips front, squaring the shoulders front, open heart, open throat. You might use the hands to do that. You don't always have to do that. And then we'll turn our warrior one into warrior two. We open up the hips to face the side wall. We find heel to arch alignment if appropriate. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. In Sanskrit, effort is sthira, ease is sukha. The way I remember it is sthira sounds like stirring it up. That's the effortful energy. Sukha sounds like sugar. It's the easeful energy. Again, the balancing the various energies. It's a big part of the yoga practice, a big part of yoga philosophy. From our warrior two shape, let's paint rainbows. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale. Exhale. Halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out. Warrior two. And then finding our Trikonasana, or our triangle, thumb and forefinger, find crease of hip and base of rib. Yeah, find that stance. Deepening the crease, lengthening those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Finding an appropriate place for your hand. Now, if you went to the big toe first time, you probably, in the interest of equalness, do it the second time. Setting the shoulders, stretching hand high. Eye focus can be down to the ground, off to the side, where the classic X position is up past those top fingers. With that mixture of effort and ease, if that requires too much effort, then you don't do it. If you're looking down to the ground and you feel like you're kind of slacking in the shape, then challenge yourself, look up. Making lots of choices. That's the great thing about a flow class is I think is you do have the opportunity to make choices, and you learn through the context of a physical practice that you can make those choices. And when you're in another place besides your yoga mat, you still have that facility to make those good choices. Another couple breaths here. Yeah, some nice energy in those top fingers. You should hold the shape without tearing your hamstring. Invite the leg to lengthen a little bit. From here, coming up easily, hand finds the hip. We soften the front knee. We come on up. We spin that back heel up. We take a step front. As we bring hands to heart, just finding our breath. So let's get at least one squat in before we come into a seated position. So let's bring hands, let's just jump hands out wide as we jump feet out wide. From here, hands come back to the hips and we'll angle the toes out. We can rock it into half squat as we take it on down. Half squat, we can bring knees over heels as elbows find the inner thighs, hands find the heart. And as we hold half squat, just rocking it side to side. Now, depending on where your knees are, you'll either hold half squat or you'll take it into full squat. Be mindful here. If you go down there and it's not right, just come out. In your full squat, hands find the heart. And you might rock it front to back. And then letting the weight collect into the heels as we stretch out that low back. From half or full squat, let's bring hands behind. And let's gently come under our backside. I'll suggest giving our knees a little love and consideration. A hand on each side of one knee. A little more heat. And then I'll invite you to take your fingers to the back of the knee. How often do you ever explore that place? And then letting all the muscles around the knee be flaccid as we give our kneecap a little wiggle. Encouraging some circulation, some of that connective tissue. Takes longer to heal. The blood doesn't flow there as much as it does to our muscles. Second side, we can bring a hand on each side of the knee. Fingers can find the back of the knee. And then giving that kneecap a little wiggle. From here, let's come back to that loose diamond shape with our legs. And we can give it a name this time. So we'll have space between the soles, or between the heels. We'll call it Tarasana. It's named after Tara, the green-skinned Buddhist goddess of compassion. Why she has green skin? I don't know. From here, we'll move towards Kurmasana, the tortoise. Another nice stretch for the low back, another nice stretch for the hips. As we feed our arms underneath, the palms face down. We can start hinging at the hips as long as we can, back of the head in line with the sacrum for neutral spine. That might be a place where you work, depending on your back, your hips. If you have a bit more to go, you might conceive of a ball in front, and we're rounding up and over that ball. So we're finding more space despite the rounding of the spine. This has been my go-to mantra throughout this time, and it fits this pose perfectly. I'll say it 3 times. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then just holding for another 3 or 4 long, slow breaths. From this place, let's tuck the chin. We'll unfeed those arms as we come back up to tall spine. From here, let's work the right foot in. It doesn't have to be in super close, depending on where you want to work. You can work out here, you can work in here, make sure it works for you. From here, let's work left foot in. And either catch either side of left ankle. If you have a bit more to go, maybe catch either side of the foot. From here, we'll start to rock back towards our tailbone. And we'll lift that leg high to the sky. And this is an easy version of Crunchasana. I believe it's named after the crane of the stork. If we look that way. As we hold this shape, just like we did with our hand before, you're going to pull those toes back as you stretch that heel forward. Now lowering that lifted leg carefully. We can use our hands on either side of this leg to bring it back center, keeping that knee super safe. We can flex the foot as we go along through the leg. From here, we'll take this left leg in. It could be a very loose end. It could be a little more tight end. Finding an in that works for you. Moving towards that Crunchasana, second side, you might just do that. If you can make either side of the foot without overly collapsing into the shape, we can lift that leg on up. Again, as we pull those toes back, feel that heel stretching front. I really feel this one in the back of the knee, where the hamstring connects into the back of the knee. And we'll all feel a lot of us will feel things in similar spots, but we all have different needs, different bodies, different restrictions, different freedoms. So just notice where you feel it. And again, just watching it like you watch a cloud in the sky. Now we'll slowly lower that leg down. Let's go long. Let's bring this one in with support, flexing the foot as we lower. And then 2 legs on the floor. Let's just give it a little bounce. And let's do one more sequence here. So we're going to do a relaxed version of Paschimottanasana, the back body stretch. And then we'll do a little less relaxed version of the tabletop, Purvottanasana with bent knees. And that's the intense, or it's a front body stretch. So from here, let's bring arms out to the side, inhaling. On the exhale, leading with your heart as we fold, either catching ankles or toes, either keeping neutral spine or letting yourself relax. Just breathing in, breathing out, soft shoulders. Now as we hold this intense back body stretch, Paschimottanasana, I'll invite you to lift up a sits bone and walk it back just a little bit. Rocking onto that sits bone, lifting up other sits bone, and walking it back just a bit. And doing that a few times as we stretch out our low backs. For some reason, I think of a duck walking when I do this. I don't know if my sits bones look like duck's feet. They feel like it. And after you've done an equal number on both sides, seeing if you can fold into the shape just a little bit further, a little more space in that low back. And again, don't do it if it's not right for you. From here, we'll move towards the tabletop version of Purvottanasana. As we tuck the chin, we can slide hands along our legs. Fingers can face front. If that's too much for wrists, fingers can face off to the side. If that's still not right, you can angle those fingers back. So finding a way that works for your wrists. We'll walk the feet in, and then pressing into hands and feet, we'll lift up the hips, either keeping your gaze towards your navel or letting the head fall back as we open up the base of the fifth chakra, communication. As we hold another couple of breaths, I'll invite you to imagine a fishing line attached to your navel. There's a fisher person on the other side of the ceiling, reeling that navel up. And then we're going to lower on down as we bring hips right between the hands. Awesome. Again, long through 2 legs. And let's find a long, slow roll down onto our backs. I'll go sideways here. If you're working towards a wall, come forward so we get a full body stretch when we come down. We can start from tall spine, back of the head in line with the sacrum, neutral spine. From here, finding C-spine as we tuck tail and chin. I'm going to slowly lay ourselves down as if we're laying pearls onto a cushion. When we get down, full body stretch, arms by the ears, not too low. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. As we point fingers and toes, breathing in. Exhaling as we flex hands and feet. 2 more times. Breathing in as you point. Exhale as you flex. Breathing in as you point. Exhale as you flex. And then I'll invite you to find your Shavasana as we sweep hands by our sides. Also just widening the thighs, lots of space for your armpits, your groins to breathe. Scooting the head back as you flatten the shoulders. Tip of the tongue is neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this afternoon. As we hold our Shavasana, front plane of the body falls into the back plane. both planes of the body fall into the floor. And that floor is super solid, super supported. There's nothing to worry about. Those of you at home, feeling free to hold your Shavasana as long as you'd like. When I practice alone, I'll usually hold it for 10, sometimes it turns into 15 minutes. At a certain point, I get this immense feeling of deep, deep relaxation. Shoulders, hips. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You're not going to get there in 2 or 3 minutes. Having said that, for the context of our class here online, we're going to have a short Shavasana, and then I'll call Josephine out. We'll start the calling out process, waking up process by ringing these bells 3 times. At home, feeling free to stay wherever you are. Here in this room, I'll invite you to come back to this place just by moving your mind before you move your body. So bringing your attention back to your breath, just watching as it flows in and as it flows out. Like watching the waves of the ocean as they wash in and out. And I'll invite you to wiggle fingers and toes as we invite more prana, more life force into our bodies. And now drawing that life force in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. Adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips. Whatever feels right and good for you. Intuitively as you lay on the floor, giving your body exactly what it wants. Right here, right now. From this place, I'll invite you to draw one knee at a time in towards your heart as your hands catch your shins. And using your thighs to gently massage your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel, as you gently lift and lower the low back and hips. This pose is called Apanasana, a great pose for digestion, as we digest the fruits of our practice. I'll invite you to take your rocks side to side, massaging your low back. And then rolling onto one side, stretching long through an arm, letting that arm serve as a cushion for the head as we share a long, slow breath here on the floor. Neck relaxed, face soft. As we press into our hands to come up, and I'll suggest that loose diamond shape that we started class with so long ago. Hands on our knees, pulling back with our hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin, ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of the thumb against the sternum, a slight tuck of the chin without losing any space in the neck. From here, I'll invite you to bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with us this afternoon. We'll have another class tomorrow at 7 a.m. It might just be me, but certainly feeling free to connect there. And we might do a pop-up class on Friday. I had a live class. For some reason, it's not happening. If you do practice at the Bay Club, I will teach 11, 15, 45-minute class on the roof. And it's a fun environment on a nice day. And many of our days are really nice right now. You'll have a nice experience. So I encourage you to book for that class. It's, I think, 12 maximum, just because of social distancing and all that. Anyway, thank you so much. And we'll see you all
real soon. Thank you, Josephine.
Bye.